Good evening. This evening is our meeting of the Yarmouth Select Board being held on August 20th at 6 p.m. in the Yarmouth Town Hall hearing room, unfortunately with one member not with us today. For the public, I will tell you that this is a Zoom meeting, and as such, per Massachusetts general law, all town and school boards, this is formally to advise that as required by general laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 18 to 25, and pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16, 2021, as extended by Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, the Yarmouth Select Board will hold a public meeting on Tuesday, August 20th, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the hearing room, Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth, Mass. 02664. The public is welcome to attend either in person or via the alternative public access provided on the town website. I am very sorry to share with you this evening that we have lost our chairman of the board. Unfortunately, Mike Stone passed away last week on Tuesday the 18th. Our thoughts and our prayers are with his family, and I ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. It has been my honor and my pleasure for the past 2.5 years as a member of this board to sit next to Mike. He has been a great teacher, a good friend, and he will be greatly missed. Tracy?
Thank you, Dorcas. I'm going to try to keep it together. My thoughts are with Gail and Leah and Kara. Thank you for sharing him with us. He was a true public service to the servant until the very end. For many years, he coached children in this town, and he was a coach to all of us in life after. Mike and I sometimes disagreed on issues, and it was like having your father disappointed in you, and it was very important to me to make sure he was proud of me. So there aren't words to properly pay him honor and tribute. He was somebody who had a great sense of humor. Being on the same election cycle with him for many years, we spent a lot of time campaigning at the landfill together. And, you know, sometimes sitting at this table, you don't really get to see somebody. He was always very brilliant and professional and methodical and took copious notes. I hope he's reading them now. But when you're in a campaigning the landfill, you really get to learn somebody's sense of humor and really get to know their family. And, it is a family affair when we decide to serve. And so it's a sacrifice for all of them, but I got to know them pretty well during that time. So I'm going to not say too much. I think it's going to take us some time. I think he will continue to watch over us and guide us, and that's my hope. And he was a wonderful colleague and served this town very distinctly for many, many years and put this town first. And even when he was not well, he hid it very well, and he didn't want people to know. But yet he would still ask about how my son was doing. That's the kind of person Mike was. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. He was really a wonderful guy, and what class. We will definitely miss him. Joyce?
I've only known, my microphone error of last week, apologies. I've only known Mike for 12 years, and many people in Yarmouth have known him for 36 or more. But I liked him enormously. Mike was one of those persons who could talk to anyone. He would usually manage to be talking to you on a meeting break when you were trying to get to the restroom. But the talks were nevertheless interesting and a lot of fun. Mike originally was serving the town as head of the Recreation Commission, and I suspect if he could have stayed on with that, he probably never would have run for office, because sports was very much important to him and a kind of his mission. He was from Springfield, Mass. Originally. I'm also from Western Mass, further west. He went to classical high school, and he got a basketball scholarship to St. Anselm's, and that made a huge difference in his life, because the college education puts you on a different road and a happier road for him. He at first thought of teaching and went on and got a master's degree in English at University of New Hampshire. And of course, those of you who've talked to him have probably heard him quote the odd poet here or there, or talk about his reading. But one of the things that stuck with him, even when he switched out of, teaching with an eye toward coaching, which had been the original idea, even after he was a full-time attorney, was that he wanted to make sure that other people had the sports opportunities to get a good education and have it funded that he had. What do you do if you're an ex-basketball player who has 2 smart daughters? You fight like hell for women's sports, and he absolutely did that. And I think that was an important part of his mission on the Recreation Commission. And I noticed, it was very sad to read the obituary, but I noticed that carried through even to the end, because instead of as having flowers or contributions to a hospital or something like that, he asked us all if we were able to give to the Yarmouth Recreation Commission. He was a great guy, and if you know any young woman who's been helped with sports, or any young resident of Yarmouth who's been helped with sports, he was probably a part of that, and for that we owe him a big debt of thanks.
Thank you, Joyce. We are keeping this meeting very short this evening in honor of Mike. For those of you who may not know, I do want to let you know that his calling hours will be at Hallett Funeral Home on Thursday from 4 to 7, and there will be a funeral mass on Friday at 11 o'clock at St. Pius. We do have some public hearings this evening, which is why we are calling the meeting this evening. Before I do that, though, are there any public comments that anyone wants to make? Vita?
I just thought that because Mike hung out in this particular room quite a lot towards the end of his life, it would be a good place to kind of say goodbye to him. And I cannot help but just take everything that was in the town's notice about his death, so beautifully written, and just, capturing the essence of the man, I think, which in simple terms was that he was doing everything that he ever did was for the common good. That was for everybody in this town and its residents. And I think if this board from now on would just keep that in mind, I think it will do a better job than they may have done in the past. Instead of splintering into special interests or anything like that, just keep in mind what he did and try to carry on in his name. God rest you, Mike.
Thank you, Vita. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say today?
Joe.
There's a hand up, Joe.
Joe Glenn? Can you hear us, Joe?
Good evening, Madam Chair. Can you hear me?
I can indeed.
Tracy had to lose it because I wanted to come on like I usually do with Mike and say, Mr. Chair, and morph into a joke that he would get before I even had it out. So I apologize if I can't keep it together either, because besides chiming in on public comment, I ran against Mike. Mike coached probably the last team that Tim and Fred Thatcher coached was boys rec basketball. And like Tracy had said, there wasn't a time where I met Mike, whether it was a political thing or even running against him, he always asked about my children. I posted a picture of my other son getting the scholarship and Mike shaking his hands. And Mike, you know, I had mentioned, and everybody knows how astute he was and how educated he was, but with no airs about him. There was someone else in the community that we lost, and I quoted Ernest Hemingway and Who the Bell Tolls, and he went on with that, took that and it made me sound good, because he embellished it and made it what it truly was that I couldn't get out. And that's what Mike was about. And, you know, when I ran against him, every single time, it wasn't, I never heard anything that he would say negative about me. And I certainly didn't about him. But he always took it as we were learning something to help the community. And a really great man, a humble man. Like Tracy said, you know, we didn't even know. I was watching the meeting. They said, geez, Mike looks like he has a cold. But because he was still chairing the meeting, you know, I didn't think anything of it. And he did such a great job. And, you know, you have, you know, I have posed the statement that Mike is arguably the best anywhere as far as the ABCC and the liquor license. I don't think that anybody could match him in the way he handled those. And I don't think there's anybody in the state of Massachusetts that is better than him in doing that. So you have a tough, and as Vita just said, you have a tough leadership gap to fill, but I think you will step up and remember Mike. But thanks, Mike. We appreciate it. And for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for all of us. And hopefully Mike's contributions help this community further and further, long past his time. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We are going to handle the two hearings that we have this evening. There is a public notice in the Cape Cod Times published on August 5th, 2024. Town of Yarmouth Select Board liquor license hearing. The Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority for the Town of Yarmouth, has received an application for a new annual wine and malt beverage package store license from STR Food Mart Incorporated, doing business as Yarmouth Mini Mart at 845 Route 28, South Yarmouth, Mass. 02664. Jana R. Patel, manager. The hearing will be held on Tuesday, August 20th, 2024, at the Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth, Mass. 02664. The Select Board's hearing begins at 6 p.m. Written comments will be accepted until 4:30 p.m. on Friday, August 16th, 2024, in the Administrator's office at the Town Hall, or can be submitted electronically to publiccomment@yarmouth.mass.us. I will entertain a motion to continue this hearing to September 10th.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Moving to the second, we have a public notice published at the Cape Cod Times on August 6th, 2024. Town of Yarmouth Select Board liquor license hearing. The Select Board, acting as the local licensing authority for the Town of Yarmouth, has received an application from Neelkanth Package Corporation doing business as Paradise Wine and Spirits, Neelish P. Marfatia, manager, 451 Station Avenue, South Yarmouth, Mass. 02664. The amendment is to change the ownership of stock interest on the previously approved liquor license. The hearing will be held on Tuesday, August 20th, 2024, at the Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, South Yarmouth, Mass. 02664. The Select Board's hearing begins at 6 p.m. Written comments will be accepted until 4:30 p.m. on Friday, August 16th, 2024, in the Administrator's office at the Town Hall, or can be submitted electronically to public comment at yarmouth.ma.us. I will entertain a motion to move to continue the hearing to September 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Having a motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. This concludes our business for this evening. Our thoughts and our prayers are with Mike's family and with Mike, who's probably watching how we're doing right now. And
He's running a recreation commission up there.
he's running the recreation, probably playing a basketball game. And thank you all, and good evening.
Motion to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Goodbye, Mike.